Hey, 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 Ty Salvant. Good to have you in the classroom. How are you?
Oh, how are you?
I am doing well, Ty. I'm doing well. It is so good to see you again in the Teach Your Own Kid classroom. We are getting ready to have another classroom conversation. You are, I think it's safe to say, you're my resident expert as it relates to homeschooling and helping parents do it well, like work with their kids at home and do it well. So thank you. Thank you for joining me.
Sure. You're
All
welcome.
right.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. So Ty Salvant of NOLA Homeschoolers, we're going to have the discussion. We are wrapping up this series of sorts that we've been doing on providing support in the virtual environment for those kids during this pandemic, for young people who are in school, but also providing support for those homeschooling families who are traditional homeschooling families who are working with their kids at home. This week, our focus is high school. Right. So we have done, for those of you that are just tuning in, maybe this is your first time seeing one of these classroom conversations, just head to teachyourown.kid.com. We've got all of those conversations that are packaged, and they are on our teachyourown.kid.com website. And we are also on YouTube as Teach Your Own Kid. So you can find all of our past videos there. So I want you to click it, like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. And so we have talked in the past about structure, scheduling, the social aspect for the most part. And a lot of those specific topics, they are relative no matter what age the child is, right?
Mhm.
Providing structure and scheduling. But specifically when it comes to our high schoolers, can we talk a little bit about why it's important to carefully monitor their academics as it relates to transcripts? I'll just say, I wish when I was in high school, I wish I knew that colleges were going to be looking at me from ninth grade through 12th grade. I had no clue. Nobody
Mhm.
told me, right? And I was a good student, but I think I would have done a little bit better during my freshman year if I had known that my freshman year was going to follow me to college. So can we talk a little bit about why it's important for our parents to pay close attention once these kids get to ninth grade?
So it is so much harder to bring up your GPA than to maintain your GPA, right? So even if you were looking at, making A's and B's your freshman year compared to having one or two C's your freshman year, that now you have to work that much harder when the coursework is getting more challenging and complicated to bring up those grades, when honestly, and not for everybody, but for a lot of people, if they were being honest with themselves, just like you said, Ari, and I can attest to that, that we could have worked a little bit harder our freshman year when it was easy and we were like, I don't have to study that much for that test. I know I'll get a, right? And so we settled for the B when we could have gotten an A if we would have pushed ourselves a little bit harder.
Mhm.
I do want to, while we're talking about transcripts, realize that colleges are also looking at your non-academic work your entire high school career, right? So while I said that when you were in 7th and 8th grade, that was a great time to try out 20 activities if you wanted to. High school, pare it down. Pare
Mhm.
it down. Look for leadership roles in organizations that mean something to you. Look for volunteer experiences that are meaningful to you and your possible future career, right? So colleges are looking for more than kids who even made straight A's. They're looking for well-rounded students. So they want civic-minded students. They want students who volunteered in the community and who participated in one or two activities and kind of dug deep in those and planted some roots, right? As opposed to somebody who was just shallow and bopped around and did 20 things just mediocrely for the over that 4 years,
Yeah.
right?
And
So
go ahead and finish.
so I was just going to say, so definitely help your kids to understand. And a good exercise with this would be to play around with some transcripts, right? There are some free websites that will calculate your GPA for you. So give them pretend classes and pop in the grades, right, that you think they might get. This is a great activity before you start your freshman year. And put it in there and see how it's going to impact you. To say, oh, wait a minute. Now, that 1C in this class in PE that I could have gotten an A in, but I didn't want to play basketball, right? So that 1C has knocked me down my senior year from graduating with honors, right?
Absolutely.
So I encourage you to let them do that and let them see it. So it's not just you telling them something, because sometimes with our high schoolers, again, they kind of need to experience it, right? They don't just want to hear mom or dad or teacher tell them these things all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a great exercise. And I think it's just a matter of, I can have an A average, and then that test score, that one exam, that one report that I didn't turn in on time, that not dressing out for PE, those things. And I know experience is a good teacher, but if we can get them to see it clearly through things like playing around with that transcript online, they can see that the choices I make every single day will impact me for years to come. Mm-hmm. I can spend the rest of my high school career trying to fix or, mend a mess up that I made in 9th grade. Or parents, we can be more proactive in saying, come on, let's have a seat. Let's talk about what this is going to look like. And that's also why it's so important. You mentioned in our last conversation that our middle schoolers, this is that time, yes, to begin to kind of explore. Let's figure it out, because when we get to 9th grade, you should have already kind of made up your mind that this is what I'm interested in, and this is what I'm going to invest my time in, because that's what it's about, investing that time. So we know that for our high schoolers, their credits follow them. And when we say credits, I don't want to take for granted that that our families know what that is. Can you talk a little bit about what a credit is and why it's important?
So for our high school students, basically what it is that you get a credit unit for, it's roughly 120 hours worth of work in a class, right? And so that credit that you get, it'll be like 4 quality points would equal an A, and you're going to end up dividing like how many points you get for each subject by the number of classes that you ended up taking, and that's how you calculate your GPA, right? It's not rocket science. It really is, kind of fairly easy to do it. Honestly, it's a great math lesson for your kids, right? Yeah. Have them go through and manually calculate it, and then do the online program and make sure that they did it right, and let them do, this quarter, and then also for the entire year, and then for 4 years, let it be cumulative, and let them go through and add all of those things in, right? So those credits that you end up getting, and I want to say in Louisiana, is it 20?
Should be about 24, yes.
About 24.
And I think 23 for, depending on the path. So between,
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it breaks down to roughly 6 credits a year, right? But that may be more than 6 classes, because sometimes you'll have something that's worth a half a credit. So you might take a finance class that's worth a half a credit, or a nutrition class that's worth a half a credit. Or your math and English and science would be full credit classes.
So those credits are used to calculate GPA, which if we shoot ahead to application to colleges, and even beginning to talk, and we're going to talk a little bit about this dual enrollment, when we begin to think ahead to college, our young people have to have so many credits in order to finish to get a diploma in the state of Louisiana specifically. We're thinking about 24 credits. And this is what colleges will use to determine whether to offer your kid a scholarship or whether what courses will need to be taken, because they're going to look at that transcript, see those credits, see the grades that your young person made in those classes. And of course, some of them are coupled with testing going into the college, onto the college campus. But all of that follows your child to college, and it determines how much you're going to have to come out of pocket to pay, or whether or not your child can get a scholarship either directly from the college or from an outside organization. So we know that this is critical, critical, critical. Every class is important. There should not be any coursework that your child is working on that is deemed less important or unimportant, because at this point, everything matters, everything counts. Let's talk a little bit about dual enrollment and heading into that college life. You know, this is our kids, some of our kids, and my heart, you know, goes out to our young people who are in their junior year and in their senior year, and maybe are having to choose a virtual option versus going into the actual brick and mortar of a classroom. So what about these kids who may have the opportunity to do some things on a college campus, dual enrollment?
So I have a friend who shared this, and I think that this kind of sums it up. Dual enrollment is like being your own best friend in the future, right? So dual enrollment is a way for you to earn college credits while you're still in high school. With most dual enrollment classes, you can take it online or in person. Clearly, most colleges right now are online too, right? So you take an online class. You were in that class just like every other college student. You turn in papers, you take tests, you participate. Everything that is expected of that college student is expected of you. And at the end, you get a grade. Now, again, we talked about the importance of grades and think about this for high school. So let's just think a little bit more about how even more important these dual enrollment grades are. Because you don't want to take a class, honestly, as a dual enrollment student and get a B in it. This is a way for you to pad your GPA. So what I recommend to parents is that, like, your child should not be taking something that they cannot make an A in, right? Like this is, and I don't mean an easy A, right? I mean, we all have those classes in college where we're like, oh, that's an easy A, I'm gonna take that, right? No. I mean, just because they are putting in the work. Yeah. They are putting in the work to get an A out of this class, because the purpose of this is, one, to start earning college credits, but two, it's a great way to pad your GPA. So you want to make sure that, one, that you're ready, right? So even as mom, if I'm ready and my child isn't ready, I can't make them do it, because I understand the consequences of this, and it's not worth, this power struggle between us to hurt their GPA in college. Right.
And when you say pad your GPA, can you explain that just a little bit for our parents who may not understand?
Absolutely. I'm glad that you asked just to clarify that. So when I say that, what I mean is that, again, like we talked about the importance of basically making A's, right? And how this A in this class is going to help you when you have that really hard class that you make a B in. So you want to make sure that you have as many A's as possible. Even if there was a class that you struggled with and got a C, right? But if that's your only C and these other classes are all A's, it's going to ding, right? It's don't pretend like it's not going to hurt your GPA, but you're not going to be put on academic probation because of it if you are, one, used to having to do what it takes to get an A in the class, right? That's another, like, this preparation of this dual enrollment is preparing you for college and starting to understand the amount of work that and the quality of work that you're going to have to do in college, right? Yeah. So And if we approach it that way and not just kind of like you said, well, I mean, it's not an important class. It's not my major anyway. So whatever I get is fine.
Not so.
Exactly. Exactly. Because again, just as your high school GPA coupled with your test scores and your extracurricular activities determine, one, if you get into college, right? Then two, they might take you, but they're not giving you money to come. So then that's all on you versus, oh no, we'll cover your tuition and room and board and books, and we'll even give you a stipend to get a computer or whatever else that you need on top of that, right? That's the land that we want to live in.
That is the lane. Now, so just to put a bow on that, padding that GPA is not, that is the high school GPA that we're talking about. So dual enrollment will benefit your high school GPA.
Dual enrollment benefits your college GPA because those credits you're earning those for college credits, right? So
Correct.
As a schooler, so if I take English 101 as a dual enrolled student, right, I'm getting high school and college credit for that.
Yes.
It's a place where we talked about when you felt, maybe I'm not smart enough to teach my kid this. Oh, honestly, I have no interest in teaching my kids that. Right? But you can say, hey, you know what? I can call the University of Holy Cross. I can call Delgado. I can call the University of New Orleans. I can call Dillard. I can call Xavier, and I can dual enroll them, and they can take this class there. Right? So I don't want to leave them out. Any of those universities offer that. What I do recommend, just as a rule of thumb, I know that it can happen the other way, but as a rule of thumb, if you are planning to go to a 4-year institution, it will be easier for credits to transfer if you take them at a 4-year institution.
Absolutely.
Delgado has amazing certification programs, amazing. So, and I highly recommend, like every high school student should be getting certified in something. But if you know that you plan on going to LSU, it's going to be easier, a transition, with a 4-year to 4-year. And I say that, but honestly, LSU and Delgado might have something. Let's say that it'll be easier for you if you're at Stanford for them to take your dual enrollment from University of New Orleans than from a 2-year institution.
Got it. And just the final piece on the dual enrollment, I also wanted to bring in that you mentioned that kids who are, if you're not prepared to make an A in this course, then it may not be a good option for you to kind of, to move into dual enrollment. Many of the programs won't even accept you unless you have a certain GPA. So they are already looking for students who are already doing well. And because dual enrollment is not meant to be a burden, it is meant to be just remove some time in between, high school and college and give you an opportunity. And those opportunities usually go to those kids who have already proven that they can handle their course load in high school. So that in and of itself is going to help to weed out any students that are not prepared to do the work. As we wrap up our conversation here in the Teach Your Own Kid classroom, can we talk a little bit about those young people? Because we're talking about high schoolers and those that are being homeschooled and that are being supported in the virtual school environment. Can we talk a little bit about their venturing out now? Many of them, especially the older ones, are venturing out into the workforce. So they are they are the ones, the 17-year-olds, some 16 with a permit. They are beginning to now venture out and begin working in some of our maybe fast food restaurants or coffee shops or what have you. So what can we say to support those parents who are trying to juggle that now? They're young people wanting to work, but also finishing high school.
So one of the things that I not only tell my kids, but the kids that I work with is that honestly, a good ACT score will pay off in spades more than a part-time job can right now. So I do just want to kind of put this into perspective for parents, right?
Yeah.
So if you're getting a 32 on your ACT, you're like any local state school, you're going for free, right? So, and I mean, that's like room and board, you're going for free. So if let's just say that it ends up being $20,000 a year that they're getting from that school. And that's for 4 years. So that's $80,000. That's $80,000. What part-time job are you working where you're making $80,000? I'm not saying don't work. Guys, my kids have jobs. They have jobs. But I do think that it's really important that we teach them how to prioritize their time, right? So one of the things that I talk to my kids about is to be mindful about the job that you have and how they respect your time. Because that manager at this grocery store, at this fast food place, their job is to have coverage. Your job is to be a student, right?
First and foremost.
So they can't call you at the last minute because somebody else called off. That's not fair to you. And unfortunately, sometimes we can be a little bit short-sighted and think, oh, I want to make these extra hours because I want to make this extra money, when that means you're not studying as much as you planned on studying for that test, right? So I just want to give a little perspective there to have you, again, like your priority, class time, like your academics, right? And then you have studying. Like it's not for most kids, by the time that you get to high school, you have to crack a book, right? I mean, we do have those that still don't need to, but most kids have to crack a book. So you need to build time into your day. And then you need the time that you're volunteering, hanging out with friends, playing your sports. Now, the time that you have left is the time that you can get a job. And clearly, guys, I know that there are some families where kids of a certain age, honestly, they are working to contribute to the household. So, I mean, if there are different priorities there. What I'm talking about, though, are our kids who mindlessly get these jobs and start to prioritize this job and that paycheck over school, because it's what they want to do, because it's going to give them the money to get the things that they want to buy.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
As opposed to focusing on academics first and then still filling out these other things, because that college isn't going to say, oh, but you know what? They were such a great cashier at Winn-Dixie that I think I'm going to give them a scholarship.
Not quite.
Not quite. But if they volunteered at the nursing home, and if they, right? So again, don't let those things cloud your judgment and your future. These are things that we should have laid out. One of the activities that I typically do with high school students and with their parents is I tell them, I say, make a list of things that you struggle with now, mom and dad. Make a list of things that you wish you would have known when you graduated from high school, right? Or like when you graduated from college, like, oh man, I wish I would have known how to cook 3 solid meals. I wish I would have known how to do my taxes. I wish I would have known how to save money. I wish I would have known how to invest money. I wish I would have known how to make my money work for me, right? Yeah. I wish I would have known how not to blow money, right? Make sure that you're teaching your kids those things, so they're not making the same mistakes that you are. So they are in a better position all across the board, spiritually, financially, emotionally, right? Physically. Yeah. So that I think that's really what we're all as parents working towards.
Yeah, I think that is a great finisher for this classroom conversation, is that, yes, we understand that many of our kids are going into the workforce to help the family. And we are definitely, I understand that. We're clear on that. But it is important to prioritize. It is important to look at the long term, the macro, and say, hey, the bigger picture is it would help us even more, son, if you would just work on your academics, work on studying, working on getting a good ACT, SAT score. And that way we won't have to worry about how we're going to send you to college or breaking open the piggy bank to do so. You can make your own way instead of, working for nickels and dimes. At this age, they're not making, if they're working for someone else, they're not making a whole lot of money. So it's all about prioritizing and perspective. And there are some kids who can work, and if it begins to get in the way, then we've got that understanding that, hey, you're gonna have to, something's gonna have to give, and it will definitely be the job. So that's important for our parents to keep in mind as we get to this age. You got something?
So yeah, two points. Hopefully I remember both of them. The first one was, so one thing that I encourage my kids to do is to learn a trade. Whether that's at Delgado and you're taking a certification, or my daughter is phenomenal at braiding hair.
Hey.
She loves doing hair, and she started with one of those little doll heads when she was like 8 or 9, and she would practice and watch videos, and like she does her hair, my hair, my other daughter's hair, like she is her brother's hair. She is it, right? But I said, baby, in college, this is your part-time job.
Oh, this is.
Right? You pick a day, 1 day a week, just 1 day a week. You say, all right, I'm gonna line them up. I'll do as many as I can this day. Done. You have made more than somebody would have paid you to work 20 or 30 hours on their part-time job, right? For minimum wage, doing this, right?
Absolutely.
There's people who know how to take care of cars. Think about this. On a college campus, if you went and changed oil and changed tires.
Oh, you could clean up.
Right?
Yeah.
Again, so think macro, right? So, and this could be a business that you may want to delve into deeper, but this could always be just your side hustle. Because it's a side hustle. I've told like everybody. So when money gets tight, when things shut down, when you a vacation, it doesn't matter your why, but that you have this skill, this to be able to do this to earn some money, right? And again, even with that, it would be very easy for, which one thing I've talked about with Sid is that it'd be easy for, like your friend to call you on Monday night and say, oh, I know you only do hair on Fridays, but I have a important something tomorrow. So could you please, but you have this test. So no, like you can't. You have to set boundaries, right? You have to set boundaries when you do this, but having that skill or trade, and everybody can find one thing that they can do. Develop that while you're in high school. Do it free. Cut grass. I mean, like kids can make a lot of money cutting grass right now, right? So find something that you can do to end up doing that. So I highly recommend that to my kids over part-time jobs anyway, when we talk about those things. And I knew I forgot the second
thing you forgot. Okay.
Continue it next week.
All right. Yeah, we'll catch it on the next classroom conversation. Hi, Salvant. It is always such a pleasure talking to you, getting inside of your head and just pulling out all that good stuff, good information for our parents. Where can they find you? If someone's looking for you, where can we find you?
Absolutely. You can find me at NOLA Homeschoolers.com. If you send a message through the email at connect@NOLAHomeschoolers.com, that comes to me. I get all of those. You can find us on Facebook. We have a public page and a private group. So yes, if you have a question, feel free to reach out. I am typically very generous. Again, within reason, I have boundaries too, but as generous as I can be with my time to help other parents.
Awesome. That's what I love about you, Ty. You've got boundaries, but you'll definitely spend some time helping parents to navigate the systems. Thank you. for joining me again in the Teach Your Own Kid classroom for this classroom conversation. For those of you that are watching for the first time, maybe somebody shared this video with you. You can find us at teachyourown.kid.com. We are also on YouTube as Teach Your Own Kid. We've got some more good stuff coming up for you. We're going to do another classroom conversation, Ty, where we're going to talk about what to do when things are just not so perfect. We've discussed the ideal situation, you know, from the little ones all the way to high school. But in our next classroom conversation, we're going to start tackling that hard stuff, the challenge problems per se. So stay tuned, subscribe to our channel, and stay in touch with us. And we'll be back. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Ty.
You're welcome. All right. Bye-bye, guys.